Hi, I'm Rob Cram, and today we're taking another look at the Battlefield 5 ray tracing effects on using the RTX 2080 Ti. So I've got them on ultra setting at the moment, and this is more about the reflective qualities on surfaces, which you can notice as a subtle effect. Now you do gain quite a bit of performance when putting it down to low, medium compared to high and ultra, but we've got it at 4K resolution with all the in-game settings cranked up to maximum. So what you're really looking at here is the reflection on surfaces, on the ground for example, the light reflections, and some of this kind of shadowing. So mainly at the moment just looking at the gun model, and as we move through the light you'll see that differences. I mean, this is quite a good area to showcase for the single player, and obviously as a single player game you're able to spend a bit more time admiring these effects than you can in a multiplayer game, which is fast paced and got tons of other characters shooting at you. So unfortunately I've set the alarm off here, so let me go and disable that. So keeping an eye on these lighting reflections, that's really what you're changing. Right, alarm's been disabled. So if I just quickly now walk under this light here like we just did, and we put it down to low, I mean, it's not really the best example to give, but if you put it on low, you do get a lot better performance, but those reflections quality isn't as good. I'll show you more of that in a second when we go indoors and we can look at some of the reflections off the glass panels, which is where you're going to notice it the most. As you can see, the resolution has bumped up considerably now. So let's just run indoors and show you those differences between the different settings. So here is a really good example. It's by going into this little cupboard here, and now you can see those reflections in full effect. See the light being reflected, you see the shelves being reflected, everything is reflected, and that's in real time as well. And if we come out here you can then see those bars that have been reflected on this side, all in real time. Now unfortunately though, you cannot see your character being reflected in the glass here. So I think DICE have compromised a little bit for the sake of performance. Now I did notice on one of my earlier tests that you can actually see the character in the reflections on... There you go, you can see the reflection of the character there now in that glass panel. Remember, we've got it on low, so if we just give you an example of what the differences are. And a good example is to stand near here and you look at the reflection quality of the this kind of cabinet here. So we'll stick those back up to ultra. And you can just see it's a lot less jagged, a lot sharper image. Well, not necessarily sharper, but smoother edges. So it looks more realistic. It's not so blocky, which is cool. But obviously you're taking a massive performance hit in the process. And like I said, this is not something you're going to be looking at in much detail when you're actually playing. It's something you can just check out whilst you're playing in a single player game. I mean, if you look there, you can see that fan spinning around in real time, just to show you that it's in real time, which is quite neat. And then obviously you've got these reflections off these surfaces, And as I said, the reflection of the gun model, which is all very neat and cool. You also got to remember I'm recording at 4K resolution using Shadowplay, so that's also affecting performance slightly. But I mean, the effect is rather subtle, but it does look much better. I mean, it really does. Creates a much more realistic looking set of light. And there you've got the reflections there in that glass panel as well. But it's not just the glass, it's just general surfaces that are being reflected. Or the light being reflected off the surfaces being much more pronounced. As I said, this is a great example. Lots of options now to look at the reflections. You can see the character swap weapons in real time. See her in the glass, it's quite cool. And again, very subtle difference. And it'd be interesting to know how this would perform on a game designed from the ground up with ray tracing effects enabled. How much more they can push. But there you go, you can see the character reflection, see her changing in real time, and the model is quite detailed, as you can see. So I've just been playing Hitman 2, and IO Interactive added a feature where the glass in the game now is reflective, and NPCs can watch you creeping up on them from behind through the glass, which is quite cool. Again, if you look at these fluorescent lights, not sure if I can shoot those out. Let's have a try. So pay attention to that one there. Let's see if I can get that one out. Nope. Not sure that's the right one. I think there's possibly that one there. Not sure. I don't know. It's reflecting off something, but I don't know which one it is. Anyway. I think you can see the lighting in general is just much better.
Solveig? Mamma? Hva gjør du her?
Fulgt etter deg. Prøver å redde livet ditt.
Ja, det finnes viktigere ting.
Det syns ikke jeg. Bli med hjem.
Solveig! Kan ikke dra hjem. Tyskerne bygger noe forferdelig, men må finne ut hva det er. Jeg og du, vi er nødt å stoppe det. Kom igjen, følg meg.
So I mean, this is early tech. And Nvidia has made a big thing about these features. There are going to be other games as well that incorporate it. But I think with
Hva har skjedd? Skadet de deg?
the intelligent learning super sampling as well, combined with this, with a game made from the ground up with it in mind, I think that's where we'll start seeing some massive improvements in terms of visual qualities. But I think already, even just playing this, a very well produced game. It's not bug free, but it's graphics look really nice. You can already see that it's an improvement using the ray tracing, but obviously at that massive performance cost. So I mean, Nvidia sort of recommends you tone the options down and put it to, let's have a look, 1440p, and then we'll just keep it as the same for a much smoother experience. They suggest you also put the quality down to medium if you're looking for closer to 60 frames per second, which is a much smoother now, as you can see there. There you go, that reflection off the gun barrel. Pretty sweet. I think they did a good job of showcasing the differences in their own videos, so I'm not going to go too deeply in making a direct comparison. Whoa, where did they just come from? Too busy looking at the scenery to notice them spawning right on top of me. Should actually be getting on with the mission at hand. But yeah, you're seeing some really nice lighting in here, and the ray tracing really just gives it that edge. And as you can see, 1440p is a lot more smoother if you're used to 60 frames per second and really can't bring yourself down to 30 FPS. Boom. So some people are suggesting, oh well, my Jeep CPU is a massive bottleneck and not suited for the RTX 2080 Ti GPU, and I say rubbish. From my own personal experience and from what I've seen from looking at other people's videos, including IGN's videos that are using a top of the range CPU in comparison to mine, when you're running at high resolution such as 4K, the differences are negligible. I mean, on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, their benchmark results were literally 1 or 2 FPS difference compared to mine, and they were using a top-end CPU. So people complaining about bottlenecking, I think that's more relevant at the 1080p, at the lower resolutions, that you're going to see a wider difference between a lower-end CPU and a top-end CPU. So basically I haven't put the subtitles on, but part of the story is to destroy these components. So you'll get a look at the explosions in a second. So I've got to head outside and deal with those. I'm not sure I'm going the right way here. I'm just going to kill myself. Okay. So yeah, this is a good level to showcase the features. Again, flamethrower guy. Those explosions, lovely. And you've got that lighting effects. Right, first one. Seeing that reflection off the weapon. But I'm going to leave it at that. I think it gives you a good taster of what to expect. Obviously at 1440p you're getting a much more smoother gameplay experience, but obviously 4K looks so much better in terms of the visuals. But there's a lot of compromises going on there. Let's just do this last explosion and then we'll call it a day. But yeah, really nice. I'm really impressed with it. And it's good just to be able to experience it at this point in time. Obviously in a few years when developers have got a bit more time with it to work it into their products, then we shall see an improvement. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm Rob Cram. Thanks for watching.